Breaking news, a small plane crashes into the side of a building at Van Nuys Airport. This is the KTLA 5 News at noon. I'm Glenn Walker.
And I'm Lou Parker. Let's get straight up to KTLA 5's Rich Prickett overhead in Sky 5. Hi, Rich.
Hi, Glenn and Lou. As you mentioned, it is Van Nuys Airport. You can see these row of hangars off of Balboa. It's LA Flight Academy where that small Cessna was stolen at about 5 a.m. this morning. That is according to the FBI, and you can see the damage that was done to a hangar. Now, the plane had not taken off. It was trying to taxi out from the hangars and somehow went sideways, and the front of the plane went into the hangar. Now, they have since pulled the plane from the hangar and moved it inside the Flight Academy. Again, this is right off of Balboa Boulevard. One suspect has been taken into custody. No word on whether there are other people that were involved in this theft of a plane at Van Nuys Airport, but we can tell you that there will be an investigation, possibly from the FBI, FAA, or World Police. And of course, if we learn more, we'll pass that along. Live in Sky 5, I'm Rich Prickett. I'll send it back to you in Hollywood.
Rich, thank you. On to more breaking news. Tragedy in North Carolina. A jet crashed while trying to land, exploding into a ball of flames. Authorities say there are multiple fatalities. Authorities also say that a Cessna owned by a private jet company had only been in the air for about 20 minutes before it crashed at Statesville Regional Airport. That's in rural North Carolina.
KTLA 5 Samantha Cortese is monitoring the story, the breaking story, and she's live now in our news center. She joins us now with the latest details. Samantha?
Hi, Glenn and Lou. Authorities are on the tarmac now at Statesville Regional Airport, again in North Carolina. The county sheriff there says multiple people have died in the crash.
God. Plane just crashed at Lakewood. A plane just crashed at Lakewood. It's flying from this way. It was way too low. Huge explosion.
The plane is registered to a company owned by Greg Biffle of NASCAR fame. Officials have not confirmed the identity of those on board the plane that crashed. It was a Cessna C550, which crashed at 10:15 local time. And according to FlightAware, the plane took off. About 8 minutes later, it attempted to land, then crashed.
We got a report of a corporate jet that crashed off the end of the runway on the east end. When actually I came out, it was already fully involved.
The Statesville Regional Airport is about 45 miles north of Charlotte. It's often used by NASCAR teams and Fortune 500 companies. Again, the identity of those on board is not confirmed by authorities, but they do say there are multiple fatalities. The plane is owned by Greg Biffle. Biffle began his NASCAR career in 1995 and is involved in the stock car racing community as well as the North Carolina community. Last September, Biffle posted about taking his aircrafts to help respond to Hurricane Helene disaster sites. Officials say the NTSB and the FAA are taking over the investigation. We will continue to follow this breaking story. In the News Center, Samantha Cortese, KTLA 5 News.
All right, thank you, Samantha. Breaking news, a person of interest has been identified in the search for the gunman who killed 2 students and wounded 9 others on Saturday at Brown University in Rhode Island. Authorities say a search for that person is now underway. The revelation comes after the FBI released enhanced footage. It has asked the public to review any security or cell phone video from the days prior to the incident. A $50,000 reward has been offered for information that leads to the gunman's capture and conviction.
President Trump addressed the nation last night. He says the economy is doing great under his presidency. However, data suggests otherwise. KTLA 5's Trevor Shirley in Washington with the recap.
The speech last night was part of an ongoing effort by the White House to try to get the president to focus on economic issues, in particular affordability. In a rare primetime address from the White House Wednesday, President Donald Trump insisted the economy is doing much better than data shows many Americans feel.
Over the past 11 months, we have brought more positive change to Washington than any administration in American history.
But a new Emerson University poll shows only 41% of Americans approve of the president's handling of his job, down 9% since he took office in January. That same poll also showed a plurality of those surveyed gave the president a failing grade on the economy, affordability, and health care.
After just 1 year, we have achieved more than anyone could have imagined.
During the roughly 19-minute speech, the president highlighted what he says are his administration's economic successes, while blaming any shortcomings on the Biden administration.
The price of eggs is down 82% since March, and everything else is falling rapidly, and it's not done yet.
Recent data shows the price of eggs and gasoline has fallen since President Trump returned to office. However, the Department of Agriculture says food prices in general are expected to rise 3% in 2025.
I've secured a record-breaking $18 trillion of investment into the United States, which means jobs, wage increases, growth, factory openings, and far greater national security. Much of this success has been accomplished by tariffs.
But many economists believe the president's tariff policies are directly related to higher prices across the board for the American consumer, costing the average family around $1,700 more per year, according to the Yale Budget Lab. Data out Thursday morning shows inflation did slow slightly in November at 2.7% year over year, less than the 3.1% many economists predicted.
So at what point does it become the Trump economy? Well, it's a Trump economy now. Our policies are changing people's lives. But when are we going to be able to point to numbers and say that we fixed the problem, we filled the hole that Biden dug? You know, that'll depend.
But for Americans still struggling to make ends meet, President Trump tells them to wait just a little longer.
We're poised for an economic boom, the likes of which the world has never seen.
The president's expected to take his economic message on the road over the next few weeks as success by Democrats in recent elections shows affordability remains a top concern for voters. Reporting in Washington, I'm Trevor Shirley, KTLA 5 News.
Just a short time ago in Washington, D.C., President Trump signed an executive order that alters long-standing drug policies in the United States.
The president is easing restrictions on marijuana. KTLA 5's Carlos Herrera live in West Hollywood with details. Carlos.
And this is the most significant change to drug policy here in the U.S. In decades. It reshapes the cannabis industry, not only because it opens the door to more research into marijuana, but it also means a huge tax break for a place like this here that's selling cannabis legally.
That's a good one.
Joined by several cannabis industry stakeholders and federal officials in the Oval Office, President Donald Trump put pen to paper to an executive order he had long hinted at. It reclassifies marijuana from a most restricted Schedule 1 drug to a Schedule 3 drug, which the DEA defines as having, quote, a moderate to low potential for physical and psychological dependence. The move puts oversight of marijuana products to the same level as some ordinary prescription painkillers, opening the doors to more research into the drug.
When you see polls of 82% of the people want this, when they go through this horrible ordeal of cancer or other things, and they realize that this is something that makes them feel better without all of the side effects of some of the drugs where you're just totally knocked out and out of it.
The move was a huge part of the president's 2024 campaign. He even said he had planned to vote yes on an unsuccessful Florida ballot measure to legalize marijuana recreationally. He wrote on Truth Social last year, quote, I believe it is time to implement smart regulations while providing access for adults to safe, tested product. But Thursday morning, before the order was signed, some lawmakers, even some within his same party, urged the president to leave marijuana in the Schedule 1 category because it applies to substances with a, quote, high potential for abuse. They claim that the order would falsely signal that the drug is safe and medically proven. But some cannabis experts this morning say they disagree.
It obviously puts us in a better space for the taxes to be lower. It opens up the possibility for other people to purchase and just makes it easily more accessible for people. At the end of the day, we want it to be, yes, it can be fun, but it is a medicine for people. It is helpful, and this really helps that open up for people to be able to try more.
And although the executive order does lower some restrictions on the drug, it does not change the fact that it remains illegal for recreational use here in the U.S. We're live in West Hollywood. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, let's toss it over to Kirk. We've got the weekend coming up.
Hi, Kirk Hawkins.
Yes, we've got the weekend coming up, and we've got some changes coming to our forecast. We're seeing increasing cloud cover and also a chance of rain becoming more of a reality in your forecast by next week. An air quality alert now in effect for the areas highlighted here. Not only some dangerous air quality conditions, but also a mandatory wood burning ban in effect. Your zone forecast for today, some low clouds and fog, gradually clearing throughout this early afternoon hour. 72 along the coast, 82 downtown LA, 87 in the San Fernando Valley. Still some residual winds and some breezy conditions continuing in our mountains and our foothill communities. Orange County is tracking a high of 80 degrees, 85 in the Inland Empire. In the high desert, we should see a high of 72. So we're seeing this transition from offshore flow to onshore flow and a series of Pacific storm systems that are expected to bring a significant amount of rain during your Christmas week forecast. I'll have much more on that coming up. For now, back to you.
All right, more of your top stories.